I will never forget the look the loan officer gave me. Like I did not belong. Like my dream was too big for someone like me. That day, I left with empty hands and a heart full of fire. I promised myself something. I would come back. Not for revenge, but to prove that I could. The morning sun slipped through the blinds as Marcus tied his work boots. The small apartment smelled like toast and his mom's rose lotion. She sat at the kitchen table, sipping coffee from a chipped mug. You eat something? She asked. Just coffee, he said, grabbing his keys. He paused at the door. Ma, I've been thinking about asking the bank again. For the cafe. She looked up, her eyes soft. It's a good dream, baby. Don't give up. Marcus nodded, heart thumping. He'd said it out loud this time. Outside, the neighborhood buzzed like it always did. Kids yelling, buses hissing, someone playing music too loud. He walked past the corner lot he'd imagined turning into Marcus's cafe that he smiled a little. But his stomach turned thinking about loans, rejection, bills. Still, the dream pulled at him. Quiet, but steady. Maybe, maybe this time would be different. Marcus stood in front of the tall glass doors of the downtown bank, his palms sweaty. He smoothed down his only dress shirt and took a deep breath. That you've got this, he told himself. But his legs felt shaky. Inside, everything smelled like paper and cold air. A woman in a gray suit smiled politely. Loan appointment? He nodded, voice catching. Yeah, Marcus Hill. As he followed her to a quiet office, his heart pounded. This is it, he thought. This could change everything. He sat down, hands folded tight. Hope and fear twisted in his chest. The loan officer didn't even look up at first. Just flipped through Marcus's papers like they didn't matter. Well, he finally said, your numbers are ambitious. Maybe you should try a credit union. Something smaller. More your speed. Marcus blinked. But I have a full plan. I've saved for years. I just need. I'm sorry. The man cut in, already stacking the papers. It's a no. Marcus sat there for a second, throat tight. Then he stood, nodded once, and left. Outside, the city was too bright. He walked fast, not caring where. His chest burned. Was it my plan? Or my face? My name? He shoved his hands into his pockets, wishing he'd never walked in. Everything felt stupid now. The dream, the cafe, the hope that he wanted to scream. But instead he kept walking, head down, face hot with shame. The clippers buzzed low as Marcus sat in the corner of his uncle's barber shop, staring at the floor. Uncle Ray wiped a chair and glanced over. Heard about the bank, he said. I've been there too. Marcus didn't say anything, just nodded. Ray sat beside him, his voice calm. Listen, they can't loan you your worth. You already have it. Build it brick by brick, like we always have. He pulled out an old photo, him in front of the shop, back when it first opened. No loans. Just grit and weekends selling cuts out of my garage. Then he told stories. Black folks who built businesses from nothing, who kept going. When doors slammed shut, Marcus looked at the photo again, something stirring in his chest. Maybe he didn't need their permission. Maybe he just needed to start. For the first time in days, he felt light again. Like the dream was still alive. Marcus tightened the lid on the last thermos of hot coffee. His cart was small, just a table on wheels with a hand-painted sign. Hill's Brewed he set up right outside the bank doors. The same ones that told him no. His hands trembled as he poured the first cup for a stranger. One sugar? He asked, voice shaking. The man nodded. Paid cash. Smiled. Marcus breathed out. Slow. I'm really doing this. Cars rushed by. People walked past. And there he stood, scared, proud, and ready, brick by brick, just like Uncle Ray said. The first time it rained, Marcus didn't have a tarp. Water soaked his table, his sleeves, and the paper cups. He packed up shivering, his sneakers squishing, as he walked home. The next morning, two office guys from the week before came back. Even though he was still setting up, "No coffee yesterday, man," one joked. "Don't let us down again." Marcus grinned, teeth chattering as he poured. "Not today." Some people still passed by with smirks or whispers. A few even laughed when the wind knocked over his sign. He swallowed the sting. Then a woman with a notepad showed up. She asked questions, took pictures. The article ran in the Sunday paper, "Brewing Hope on Main Street." Calls followed. Emails. One from a local group that helped Black-owned businesses. They invited him to a meeting, offered advice, connections that he still woke up sore and tired. Rain still made him nervous, but something had changed. People knew his name now. Some stopped to chat, others waved from across the street. And when he looked at his cart, still standing, still serving, he felt it, not big yet, not easy, but real and growing. Marcus stood in the middle of his second cafe, watching the crowd buzz with quiet joy. People laughing, working, sipping his coffee. His coffee. He'd built this. Months ago, he was a guy with a cart. Now he was running numbers. With lawyers and investors. A friend from the business network had slipped him a tip. The downtown bank, that bank, was in trouble. "You've got people behind you now," she said. "If you want it, we can move." Marcus stared at the old bank building that night from across the street. Could he really do this? His heart beat fast. Not with fear, exactly. More like awe. By the bank. He took a breath, steadying his hands. This was bigger than coffee now. Bigger than him. It was legacy, and he was ready to walk through that door. Marcus sat alone in the dark cafe, lights off, hands in his lap. The call had come just before closing. One of the lead investors was out. Too risky, they said. Too big. He didn't even lock the front door. Just sank into a chair and stared at nothing. The hum of the fridge was the only sound. Maybe this was too much, he thought. Maybe I flew too high. He thought about his mom. Uncle Ray. That first rainy day with the cart. What if it had all been a dream dressed up in hard work? His chest ached. He picked up a crumpled napkin and rubbed it between his fingers. "I tried," he whispered to the empty room. "I really tried." For one long night, he sat there, silent, broken, unsure, and no answers. No plan, just the weight of it all pressing down. The pen felt heavier than it should. Marcus stared at the final page, then signed his name slow and steady. It was done. He looked up at the lawyer, who smiled and said, "Congratulations, Mr. Hill. You're now the majority owner." Marcus nodded, too full to speak. He stepped outside into the sunlight, blinking. The same steps where he once walked out ashamed. Now they were his, not just the building, the chance, the power, the seat at the table. His hands shook, but this time from joy. He whispered, "We made it," and meant every word. The lobby looked just like it had that first day. Polished floors, cold air, quiet buzz. Marcus walked in wearing a suit this time. People turned as he passed. The loan officer glanced up, then froze. Marcus smiled, calm. "Good morning," he said, voice steady. "I'm Marcus Hill. I'll be overseeing operations moving forward." The man stood slowly, unsure. "Oh, I see." Marcus offered his hand in no anger. "No need." He'd already won. He walked deeper into the building. His steps felt light. He wasn't looking for approval anymore. He was the change now. The ribbon fluttered in the breeze, red and bright against the old bank stone steps. A small crowd had gathered, friends, family, neighbors, and people who believed. Marcus stood at the mic, heart steady. He looked out and saw his mom, Uncle Ray, and folks from the barber shop days that he cleared his throat. I didn't come back to prove anyone wrong, he said. I came to prove what's possible. There was a pause. A few people nodded. Some clapped. Marcus smiled and held up a folder. Today, we launch a new loan program for minority entrepreneurs with big dreams and no shortcuts. Cheers rose. A few people wiped their eyes. Marcus stepped back as the ribbon was cut, his chest rising with a slow, full breath that he felt whole, not just successful, but healed. This was more than his WIN.IT was the start of many. Marcus stood outside his old middle school, watching a group of kids point at a poster in the hallway. His face was on it, smiling, holding a coffee cup. That's him, one boy whispered. Mr. Hill, I want to be like him. Marcus smiled, heart warmed at heat. Spoken in classrooms, been on the news, but this, hearing his name in the voice of a child, felt like the real prize, not the bank, not the buildings. The belief that as he walked down the sidewalk, he felt light, hopeful. This wasn't the END.IT was someone else's beginning. The world will not always open its doors for you. But that does not mean you cannot build your own. Marcus did not come back for revenge. He came back to create change. And because he did, others now believe they can too. Sometimes the greatest power is not proving people wrong. It is lifting others up with you. If this story moved you, inspired you, or reminded you of your own power, don't miss what's next. Subscribe now to get more stories that light the fire, lift the spirit, and remind you your journey matters.